Go ahead, Derek.
All right.
You ready?
It is 9 a.m. on July 23rd. We'll call the Wright County Board of Commissioners to order. We'll begin with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Well, timed that well, Jamie.
Good morning, everyone. So has everybody got the opportunity to look through the July 16th minutes? If there's any modifications, otherwise I'll look forward for a motion to approve them.
Mr. Chair, a couple of things.
Sure.
On page 6 of 13, the third paragraph down, instead of John Bergstrand, it should be John Reynolds. And he's actually not a Lake John resident. He's a Southside Township
Supervisor.
resident. And then in the previous paragraph, I believe Bergstrand's name should be Reynolds. And then just, and I'll talk to Highway about this also, but Corinna spelled, I didn't notice it last week with the minutes, but when I went through, it's spelled with 2 R's and 1 N instead of the other way around, so just, if we find those, that's an easy one to spell incorrectly.
With that, is that a motion then to approve?
Mr. Chair, I will make a motion to approve the minutes with
second
those
that.
changes.
We have a motion by Commissioner Hewson, a second by Commissioner Burrell for the approval of July 16th minutes with those modifications. Is there any other further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Minutes are approved. We'll go to the approval of today's agenda. Mr. Kelly?
Yes, Mr. Chair, I have one addition I'd like to add to the consent. We have a request for an out-of-state travel for IT business analysts to attend the DataBank Florida Government Day in Tampa, Florida. She's going to be the keynote speaker, so
Oh, very
for
nice.
policy, we have to put it on the board, and I apologize I missed that earlier, so I'd like to add it today.
Okay. You want to do that as a, board members, you guys want to do that as a consent item, or do you want to do that as a
Consent
time?
J.
Consent?
Yes.
Consent
Mr.
J would
Chair.
be fine.
Consent I?
Yes.
All right.
With that, Mr. Chair, I'll make a
Energy.
motion to approve the agenda.
Second.
1 second here, I'm going to add a timed item as well.
Okay.
To a timed item B, I just needed some quick direction from the board on the local share for Trailblazer and the county's portion versus WCAT's portion. It's very small and it needs some direction from you guys. So bring that as timed item B.
Okay. I will restate the motion to approve the agenda as amended.
No, second it.
All right, we have a motion by Commissioner Potter, second by Commissioner Dahleden. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. All right, motion passes.
I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
I'll
with the
second that.
addition.
We have a motion by Commissioner Dahleden to approve today's consent agenda. Second by Commissioner Hewson. Any further discussion? I guess one question was, from the item G on the IT, do you want to spread that out, or is there something? I just was myself, I've gotten a lot of information on that item. If the board is interested, I could even give you my recommendation earlier on, but if you guys want to take it to the IT committee, because I'm sure most of you have gotten a lot of IT information already at this
For
information.
G,
It's
not to the IT,
it's
for
going
the
to
personnel committee?
Yes, but I'm saying I could save a lot of minutes, and I can tell you where my feelings are, even
Why
at
don't-
this point,
I-
because I don't want to make.
Why don't we, did we have a motion yet on the consent?
Yeah, we did. If you want to pull it then?
Yeah, just pull that one.
I'm going to pull item G from the consent agenda, so we have a motion. and a
I'll
second.
amend my motion
Okay,
to approve it with pulling item G.
That's fine. I'll
Okay.
second that.
we have a motion by Commissioner Dahleden, second by Commissioner Hewson. Any other discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. All right, item G, the informational technology, the Office Tech 1 position, and the reclassification. I don't know if any of you seen any of the information that's been provided out there about the position itself and what it has been doing and what it is classified at. It's, in my mind, it's quite clearly that this position warrants a reclassification. I just was seeing if the board wanted to just not drag the feet and create more minutes when there's so much information out there available on this position, but.
Mr. Chair, I think we should just follow the procedure.
Okay.
And so we will have the trail. of,
Okay.
You know.
Sure.
The minutes and the reasons why, this request has come before us.
And I can respect that entirely too, so, yep.
Yeah, if we don't go through the procedures, then we're setting a precedent.
And that's very rightfully so too. There was just so much information that was out there available that was kind of eye-shocking that we've gotten to this point on the position that took this long to get there, so. All right,
Okay, Mr. Chair, I'll make a motion, then we approve item G from the consent agenda.
I'll second that.
motion by Commissioner Burrell, second by Commissioner Hewsome, to refer the reclassification of Office Tech 1 to the Personnel Committee for tomorrow, July 24th. Any other discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion passes. Time to item number 1. Mr. Kelly, the resolution for the Crow River Organization of Water.
Yes, Mr. Chair, we were notified, I know Commissioner Burrell had provided an update that this group was looking at disbanding. We were presented with a resolution of dissolution that Crow is sending around to all the member entities. I know they're in the process of dispersing various assets they have, so I know I had a brief discussion with Bob Heel here to make sure that we dot our T's and cross our I's regarding the financial aspects of closing this out. So, Bob, I don't know if you want to speak to that briefly, but.
I'll be very brief. So, Board, remember, we are the fiscal agents for the Crow. The Crow is a legal entity. It has reporting requirements to the IRS, to the state, other cognizant agencies. So as you dissolve them, as the fiscal agent, we're going to work with them to unhook all that stuff. Also, just to let you know that the members of the Crow have reached out to my office asking if we could do some kind of audit of them before they close their books. So we're engaging them to figure out what is the expectation. So Board, if you have any expectations, I'd like to hear that as well.
Is there actually a formal resolution I didn't see one in there, but did I
Yeah.
miss it? Must have been well, you had
It showed up as,
Okay, I see it there. Yep.
Yeah.
It got out of order in mine.
Yep.
Yeah, there you go. All right, thanks. All right, so,
Mr.
Charlie?
Chair, does,
Well, it
Commissioner
just-
Burrell have anything?
Right, and I said I wasn't aware of the request for the audit, unless I was sleeping at the meeting, but that might have come from it might have just come from our board chair, and I wouldn't be opposed to that either. And I imagine Bob's office would have to, charge a fee for that, because it's a lot of other counties that are involved too, so, but no, and I think that would help us too, because just going through the experience of closing up River Rider, it is unbelievable how many things that need to be taken care of, and I don't think one person could think of it all. I mean, as far as unemployment insurance and claims, now, in that respect, we should be okay, because we have no employees anymore. They've actually moved on and taken other jobs, but if the employee were to get laid off from that job, they would still have a claim against the Crow. So you have to go so far before you can actually tie it all up. So I think an audit would maybe, if we requested in the audit to point out as many things like that need to be tied out, and then to close it out with the IRS and different organizations too. So I think it would be a good idea. Like I said, I think our board chair may have just requested that.
Are there any physical assets at the?
Oh, yeah, we have, well, yeah, we've pretty much we're selling the car right now, the vehicle, I guess it's the SUV kind of thing. And we're doing that through the Wright County online auction. Did that get done yet, Lee, or
Alan was actually posting it this morning, so.
posting it tomorrow? Okay, so.
This morning.
So if anybody needs a good vehicle and it has a catalytic converter on it yet, I think. They have something, I don't know what it is where we park that vehicle, but it's like people come in there with the little hacksaws and take the catalytic converter and turn it in, so, yeah. But anyway,
Yeah, it's,
but I think we do have one on it right now. So. So, no, and then also, Mark, to answer your question, we do have considerable amount of cash on hand too, so I don't know exactly the amount, but, and when we put the money in, we did a formula, so a county like Wright County with a bigger population and more land area paid more dues than, say, a Polk County that has just a tiny little sliver in the watershed.
Watershed.
But when we get the money back, Polk County wants us to just split it even across the board. So
I'm sure.
I think he's making that up.
Commissioner Potter.
they joked about it. At the,
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Commissioner Burrell, for the public out there, can you tell them why the Crow, which Crow River Organization of Water, why it's dissolving and what, has it met its purpose or what's going on?
Well-
Because some people get a little bit of that, but they don't get the full picture.
Okay,
This is, we're making a decision here today.
and there's actually multiple reasons why they're dissolving, but the main reason is we came up with this thing called, and Bowser did, Board of Soil and Water Resources, but it's the One Watershed, One Plan, which will encompass the entire North Fork of our watershed, and they will basically taking right in the water plan for that area. Wright County will still have to have their own water plan because we have a sliver of land in the Mississippi water basin and then a little bit in the South Fork also. But that will take the place, and eventually Bowser wants to go to these One Watershed, One Plans all over the state. So, and they will give out their grants based on that. So, and then the other reason though, Commissioner Potter, we did have some hopes that maybe the Crow could be the agent that would be the planner and stuff and implementing this, but we did have some staff terminations that just, we felt made it just, it would be unfeasible to bring that on. So we kind of made the decision based on multiple things, but it was some staffing changes, people moving on in some key positions that made it, we felt, not conducive to carry it on. So.
Mr. Chair.
Yes, Commissioner
So
Dodd.
who's going to take over the One Water, One Plan?
Right now, the Middle Fork Watershed is handling part of it, and I think we're doing Wright County is still doing some of the fiscal agent on the
Through Wright County Soil and Water.
Soil Water might be doing the fiscal. I'm not positive on that, but anyway, it will be up for, we just had one grant basically that was divvied up with the program for this first biennium, and that's already been done, so it'll be very little work right now, but a year and a half, 2 years from now, when this comes up, I know Wright County Soil Water is interested in doing the fiscal agent and the program management, so
Okay.
they will put in a pitch for that, and I don't know where, if Middle Fork will, and somebody else might step forward, and then we'll just look at it at that point at the One Watershed, One Plan Policy Committee and decide which route we want to go.
Okay. Thank you, Commissioner Burrell.
But it will involve a full-time person, though. It will, so you can't get away from that, so.
Well, I'll make a motion, approve the resolution dissolving the Crow River Organization of Water.
I'll second that.
Motion by Commissioner Dahlheim and second by Commissioner Houston for the dissolution of the Crow River Organization of Waters. Any further discussion?
Yeah, and just regarding the audit, I agree with Commissioner Burrell that it would be good to have
Yes.
the county auditor audit the books and try to help figure out where all the money is going to be required to hold, and I'm assuming we would want to distribute it the way that it was collected.
Right, no,
Based off
that will be. That was it was a joke of
No,
some of the
yeah, I know,
commissioners
but
in the
that-
smaller counties that
Yeah.
they decided to change the formula all of a sudden now, so.
Well, and through the audit, I think it's good time to collect all the information together and figure out who's going to hold the information pending a state audit sometime in the next couple of years, so it's easier to find it out while there's still people around.
Yep.
So, all right, with no other discussion, this is a resolution, Commissioner Dahlheim.
Aye.
Aye.
Aye,
Aye.
Aye,
I said that.
the resolution passed. All right.
He was quick for that one.
Next is time item B, regarding the local share for the Trailblazer Transit. So this year was kind of an anomaly year. We got some additional funding from MnDOT, which ended up diluting our local share that will be billed out here as of shortly to $7,953.28. That is for 2018. 2018, we were a 50-50 partnership with WCAT Cities. My question to the board at this time is I would like direction from the board. I'm recommending that we absorb all $7,953.28 and not bill it back to the cities just because of the amount of work that would be taking to dilute out 50% of the 7,900 and just a show of good faith. But
Did we have anything budgeted for
we had
this?
$200,000 budgeted for WCAT, or not WCAT, for Trailblazer Transit for 2018. So we're farly under. The other inclination that I'm asking is, currently, we have individual accounts at Trailblazer for reserves for years that our MnDOT is underfunds transit. Our balance is about $150,000 in that reserve account. To basically, my other ask is if the board's interested in billing out an additional either $25,000 or $50,000 to take that reserve count from 150 to 175 or 200,000, since our budget item is at 200,000, we're only going to be, at this point, if you paid the full share for the cities, we're taking $7,053 out of it.
So now this is budgeted in the 2019 budget or the 2018?
It's this year,
budget?
we pay a year behind. So this year, 2018 gets paid in 2019, 2019 gets paid in 2020, so we're always a year behind, so. Yep.
All right, so it was budgeted for the 2019 year.
Yep, yep.
Commissioner Vetch, I would rather not do it, and I have a hard time trying to figure out how you could operate a business that gets 80% paid of when they buy a bus. The state pays 80% of it, we only pay 20%, and then pays 85% of all your operating costs, your gas, your tires, your labor, your fuel. I guess I said that's gas, it's not gas, it's diesel. But all of your expenses across the board, legal and everything else, and how we can come out and still lose money. That it just, I can't.
money, because you know
Well,
what?
I mean, because, no, we have to
Commissioner
pay
Burrell,
more money at
because
the
the
end of the
reason we
year.
have $7,953, the reason all of that is our 5311, MnDOT approved funding, our rides, was a local share of 0. The only reason we have 5311, or have local share is because we have our smart rides. Our smart rides, which is non-5311 rides that we operate outside of the
But so-
6 to 6 window.
So they just broke even then, they didn't, River Rider
can't profit.
made money.
You can't, you
Well, what do
cannot
they do?
profit.
Do they turn the money back then?
Yes.
How much did they turn back then this year?
This year, we haven't turned, our goal is to get it to 0, because you don't want it, but we have turned back. This year, we turned money back. I don't have the exact number off the top of my head, but we did turn money back. The goal is to be as fiscally responsible to get yourself within that close to 0 range.
And, yeah, Mr. Chair, I mean, that is the way it works, correct? That you want to bring it down to 0
Zero,
by the
yep.
end of the year.
So, but you cannot profit. Anything that we would be in excess would be turned back.
That's a
Yep.
new law,
That is a new change post River Rider.
Right.
because River Rider made money and they don't want to see that.
Now, remind me what the Smart Ride is and why,
The smart,
how come we're not utilizing it as much?
well, Buffalo contracts with it. That's basically it allows.
Okay, so Buffalo contracts for the Smart Ride.
Yep.
So
The
then-
Buffalo pays that share. That's just one example. But there's other people that not so much in Wright County, but Sibley County and in McLeod County, but in Wright County, people use the Smart Ride services. Basically, people can pay X amount of dollars to take a ride to the airport. They can go anywhere they want on this because it's outside of the rules. There are two vans that we have.
5311.
Yep, that are outside of the 5311. Buffalo extends their services till 8 or 8:30 at night on the Smart Ride services.
Well, I'd sure like to know how many smart rides that the county is actually responsible for. If that $7,000 is for smart rides, that doesn't make, that's a lot of money.
And I will.
But the smart ride people should be paying for their ride. and
Well,
it
they're
should
gonna
be-
pay for 100%.
They can't, they don't make 100% of it. Mostly it's just because the maintenance on the Smart Ride vehicles and stuff, you can't charge enough to cover the maintenance and stuff on those ones. And it's a piece that we can have a discussion on. And per the Transportation Committee, the whole, we'll actually, and have Gary actually present the information to you. At this point, all I'm looking for is, at minimum, the $7,953. If you guys want to split that 50/50 and dilute it out between the cities,
I'm okay.
I
I'm okay
recommend that
with
we don't do
I'm
that.
okay with that because it's whatever.
I mean, it's a lot of work to bill out, because some of these cities are gonna get a bill for like $85.
Yeah, costs more to bill it out.
Yeah.
It does.
And plus, that dollar amount is not gonna be a budget buster. We're not gonna have protests and,
Well, we've already had it in the budget, so.
and
It's a budgeted item.
And Mr. Chair, I would like to take that, of that 50 you're also talking about, is put that in to the reserves, because that will protect us in case the state ever does have a shortfall or doesn't pay us for a while. And when bills come in, they gotta get paid, because they've done it before. And I know that MnDOT 2021 has a fiscal cliff coming at them until they fix something, so this is just safeguarding us on this, so.
I'll second that.
I agree with you as well. Commissioner Potter lowers our risk. So that was a motion by Commissioner
motion,
Potter, second by
correct.
Commissioner Dahlheiden. Any other further discussion?
I would just say I'd rather not do that because if the state cuts the money, I think we need to make cuts out here. You know, we
We will make cuts.
Yeah.
you know, so.
Well, it's not that much.
Mr.
The
Chair.
reserves aren't gonna be very high.
No.
Mr. Chair. Thank you, Mr. Chair. Commissioner Burrell, sometimes when they make the cut after we've already incurred the expense, that's the problem.
problem.
That's where the problem is. It's not that we couldn't cut if there was a problem, but they do the cut after we've incurred the expense and we have to pay it.
Well put, Commissioner Potter. All right.
So
Any
just
other
to-
further discussion?
Just to clarify the motion, so then that is to pay the full amount for Wright County as well as transferring 50,000.
Yep, so basically, we'll get I'll have an invoice sent from Trailblazer up to the auditor's office for $57,953.28.
And Mr. Chair, I'm okay with absorbing the 7,000, but the other one I'm gonna vote against, so I have to vote against it then.
Okay.
Mike's a mean guy and he made it all in one motion.
All right. Any other discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign.
Aye.
All right, motion passes 4-1. Next, we're moving on to the items for consideration. The Committee of the Whole minutes from the audit exit. Commissioner Burrell, you want to give us a quick overview of the audit exit from July 16th?
Well, we had a real good audit. Doug Host from Clifton Larson Allen was out, presented to the board the findings. We do have some small errors in some reporting yet in some of the departments. I mean, it's, they're very insignificant, and what I was told is it's kind of almost everyone that they audit has a similar thing where sometimes it might be like at a human services on a form to just forgot to check the box that they're a U.S. citizen, things like that, some real minor things, but things that we probably still should be looking to improve, and I think we need to set some goals maybe to cut down on those, as there was a handful of them. What the auditor does, they pull out, I think it was about 60 random samples, and then they go through them with a fine-tooth comb, but they are finding some of those small errors in that 60, so. But like I said, it was a very good audit. I'm reading this one here. right at the end, there was an inquiry seeking to clarify the state statute that requires counties to publish all individual claims over $2,000. And Clifton Larson Allen mentioned that the county was out of compliance on this issue. So our auditor believes the county is currently publishing weekly all the claims over 2,000. So we're working on that too. So anyway, very, very good audit is the word that we got from Clifton Larson Allen. So.
All right. With that, you're making a motion to approve?
I'll make a motion that we approve the minutes and the recommendation, which is
Information.
None. All right, we have a motion by Commissioner Burrell, a second by Commissioner Potter to approve the audit exit minutes from July. Sorry, Commissioner Dahlheiden from July 16th. Any other discussion?
Yes, Mr. Chair.
Yes, Commissioner Potter.
One point to make and clarify, it's some of the aspects that came up on Health and Human Service and the reports and with the sampling pulling. Keep in mind that DHS down there sometimes gives people bad information, and if that's what they're running with, I can't blame our staff out here, because a lot of other counties are having the same issue with that. Because say they have a question on something, they call DHS, hey, what's the ruling? You know, they give 5 different people, give 5 different rulings, and they're all wrong, but yet we're the ones taking the brunt of that anger, or whatever you want to call it.
I don't understand how you could even say that with, you know, the turnover down at DHF and the fantastic software
Just a
that
bunch of
they have to
gems.
work with. I can't understand how you could even state something like that.
Right, and I'm surprised it's as low as it is, based on what's going on down there in St. Paul, because it's got to be frustrating if you're one of the social workers that trying to get information out of them and try to get a clarification on what the statute, the rule is, and down there they don't have a clue, so they're just kind of telling you something, and you know, and then who gets caught? Well, hey, it's your fault. You put it down.
I'm sure hoping that with the new person down there that DHS is going to get straightened
Pam
out.
Wheelock can't fix it. Nobody can.
But unfortunately, the fields on a lot of these programs and the paperwork don't autofill, so the chances for error are quite high. A lot of these things are a missing of a birth date, even though it's on one of the pages, but it's not on another page, or it's not signed on this page, but it's signed on this page. So the intent was that they were signing it, but because they had to sign so many times, the chances for errors increase immensely.
It's,
We need to work with the auditor to figure out how we can make things be
yeah,
better without the automation in place. That would really help. I appreciate the comments, Commissioner Potter.
So, and final comment that if all else fails, we'll just blame Jamie, right? It's good to be king and queen, right? No, but it's tough for them to try to do that when they're not getting good information from the state. And like I say, the system and everything else needs
yeah,
some
it's,
fixing.
yeah, by major.
All right, any other discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. July 16th audit exit minutes are approved. Now we have the committee of the whole from July 16th in the afternoon at 1 o'clock regarding the Tobacco 21 ordinance in Wright County. Commissioner Hewsome.
Thank you. Yes, we met in reference to ordinance amendment number 19.5, and members present, Burrell, Hewsome, Potter, Vetch, and also from the city of Annandale, Kelly Hinnenkamp, and Jeff Herr, the police chief, and Kreiser, Tom Kelly, Goodrum Schwartz, Asselson, Matt Treichler, Grosich, John Young, Bohannon, Anson, Leander, and Virgin. And it was for the revision to the tobacco ordinance, and the public can look online and read the ordinance as proposed and the changes. But we discussed different revisions. Kreiser presented ordinance amendment number 19.5 outlining the modifications. And the language, it closely mirrors those passed in other counties, namely Benton and Hennepin. The city of Rockford requested that Wright County's ordinance be closely aligned with Hennepin's, since the city is both in Wright and Hennepin County, and it's good for consistency. Commissioner Burrell had concerns that the ordinance had more negative economic impact than curbing, the number of youth smoking cigarettes, and, questioned about some of the studies, and I did show that we have studies on this issue, and that legislation itself is an educational tool. The proposed amendments are as follows. The compliance check is, if adopting T21, Wright County will still conduct compliance checks as required by state law for ages 16, 17-year-olds, and compliance checks for for ages 18 to 20 as secondary. The subpart C was a flavored product. Public Health sought to regulate the flavored tobacco product definition that any taste or smell except menthol, mint, or wintergreen as flavored product. And Chairman Vetch recommended removing subpart C, the flavored product, he thought was too restrictive for 21-year-olds and older, and there was some discussion about whether this would be sold at gas stations or just at the vaping shops. And Groschitz stressed that this measure is not to restrict the sale, but to limit youth access to the products aimed at the youth market. Regardless, Vetch emphasized that over 21-year-olds should still have a choice where the products can be attained, and Commissioners Vetch and Hewsome agreed at the later discussion. So Kreiser counter-proposed to limit flavored product to just vaping liquid instead. And subpart G was the loosies, and that would be if cigars the packs are broken into single packs. And that after sales tax and discounts is $3 per cigar. Vetch asked to remove subpart G, loosies, due to the high cost, which hurts business. Burrell agreed. Potter stated he needs time to consider the issues and look at other counties. And Groschitz offer to reduce the cost. Vetch proposed to be closer to Benton County and agreed at $2.50. And then the rest of the subparts were approved as follows, and I won't go through all of them, but they're in our packet. And Tom Kelly asked for clarification on possession versus purchase. And the sale, any transfer of goods for money, trade, barter, considerations, is there a violation of this definition if a 22-year-old gives an 18-year-old a cigarette? Kreiser confirmed there's no violation is committed since it's not a sale. Additionally, Section 8 states that it shall be a violation of this chapter for any person to sell or provide tobacco to any person under 21. And the recommendation is provide a cheat sheet of what other counties passed in their ordinances for the public hearing, question and answer. And consensus was to remove flavored products, retain loosies for $2.50. The rest of the language stands. We'll hold a committee of the whole public hearing on September 17th, 2019, 1 p.m. School personnel are expected to participate. With that, Mr. Chair, I will move the minutes and the recommendation.
All right, we have a motion by Commissioner Hewsome for the minutes and the recommendations from the Committee of the Whole on July 16th. Is there a second?
I'll second that.
We have a second by Commissioner Potter. Is there any discussion?
Mr. Chair?
Yes, Commissioner Dahlheiden?
I didn't see it in here, but are there any issues with 16 and 17-year-olds selling it? That didn't change or anything, did it? You know, because of, okay. Pardon?
It's covered by state.
Okay. Just curious. All right. Go ahead.
All right. So we have a motion, we have a second. Any other discussion?
Mr. Young, I'm going to vote against it because I think it is just, it's feel-good stuff. And I know our Health and Human Services Director did send some of the study results that they used to compile this. And some of it, there was one area that enacted this law, and yeah, cigarette smoking went down, alcohol consumption went up amongst the same thing. So I don't know. I think it's just, I wish we would just be having better parents and a better educational program, because these laws don't seem to make any difference. Marijuana is illegal. They still smoke it, and they smoke it in middle schools. So I just, you know, like I said, it might have some marginal effect, but it's not the answer. And I wish we'd come up with an answer, because I don't like smoking either.
I do.
Is there any other discussion? All right. Hearing none, all in favor of the motion and the recommendations from the July 16th Committee of the Whole, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign.
Aye.
And next is the County Board Workshop from July 9th. I will turn that over to Mr. Kelly.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. We had a meeting on the 9th. The topic was regarding strategic budget planning. Included in here is the 5-year budget scenario, which I want to stress again, this is just a tool that we're using and continual updating as we work through the budget process. We are, as a side note, receiving the budget books from departments this Friday, so we'll be continually updating this. So we reviewed the scenarios as presented, looking at the levy increases that are projected, tax capacity growth, and net county tax rate and capital project budgets. The estimate's been working for the 2020 budget with adding 4 positions, new staff positions, money put aside for the class and comp study, as well as ERP. Currently, that shows approximately 6.4% levy, but again, it's early in the process. This is just a tool that we use. So, board indicated they'd like to see tax capacity values and the tax rate as early as possible prior to setting the preliminary budget in September. We talked a little bit about the highway capital improvement plan items regards to a new shop facility. We've carried some money forward. Looking at a property for to purchase and potentially reallocate some dollars in 2020. We've been using the 5% excess levy for debt reduction on our bonds. Talked about clarifying the miscellaneous category that's been tied in the budget to better define that as infrastructure maintenance and the local option sales tax being spelled out. Talked a little bit about the timeline review for the 2020 budgets, planning, as you'll see later in the schedule for budgets, about talking about the capital improvement plan, staffing requests first prior to moving into the department budgets. So, board was in consensus that if a department has minimal changes, primarily due to inflationary impacts, they would not need to present their budget to the board unless the department would choose to do so. We're currently carrying costs relative to insurance benefits of approximately 5%. We also are working on a mandate versus core function document to be gathered for each department. We talked about the timeline of that and moving it back to be prepared around October 1st. I was also noted that I will be revising the budget timeline based on the discussions took place at this meeting. Those have been incorporated in the document you'll see later in the meeting. So. Informational only, and the attachments are included, Mr. Chair.
I'll make a motion to approve the workshop meeting.
All right.
I'll second that.
We have a motion by Commissioner Dahlheiden, a second by Commissioner Hewsome to approve the July 9th workshop minutes. Any other discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Minutes are approved. Next, we are up to the owners committee from July 17th. Commissioner Potter.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chair. The Justice Center Owners Committee met July 17th. Commissioner Burrell and myself were present along with members of the admin and the judges, the attorneys, and the construction management team all on here. Basically, the update says short-term, Mitch Paulson, who is our construction manager on site, is the one that I spoke with, the short-term schedule, progress on the site, the exterior crews, all things going on. The main entrance is starting to receive the wall sheeting and got some concrete there, so they're going to start making some serious headway on the main entrance coming in with the stairways, which it looks going well. We're still a couple weeks behind on the construction of this because of rain and everything else going on. There were some change orders that we reviewed at the agenda, and there's nothing really major except for we did the with the boiler to do the venting through the roof of the sally port instead of the side, out the side of the wall. It was determined that, you know, after a few years with the caustic nature of the boiler exhaust, the steam, it can impair and degrade the concrete, which you see on side of buildings where it gets discolored. So to avoid that, because these are tip-up panels, and that's very expensive to try to replace that, say, in 20 years, run it through the roof so we'd eliminate that problem. That was about a $14,000 expense. I want to say it was a couple of those things that you just want the water heater venting, 12,000, yeah.
Oh, so you're going to do that both for the water heater and the boiler?
Yes, everything's going to get vented instead of out the side of the wall. So those are just a couple things. The other things, we're still looking at the parking in the Justice Center because it's the activity with the government center site. For the staging construction, it was laid out where the staging construction for the admin building will be that will not interfere with the Justice Center. It was a pretty detailed map of where the parking, where the setup, where the stuff, and that no interference. Also, the judges were concerned about the gates. We have putting in the conduit for the gates to keep the public out from the like say the parking lot for the employees. So we got the conduits in there, and it's just discussed that we're probably going to have especially with the construction going on, we might have more people trying to take the path of least resistance, so that still is open for discussion coming later, but the conduits are in the ground for that, so that'll come up at a future meeting on the cost of the gates and at what point in time do you do it. The other part that came in, I've been talking with Virgil Hawkins, our county engineer, about the potential options for access on Highway 25. As you know, when we get all the employees out there, it's going to be a little bit tough to have everybody peel out on Braddock at a certain point in time. And at our committee of the whole for transportation, that's when Virgil will show us a potential layout. And he's had talks with MnDOT already about how to accomplish this. And keep in mind that MnDOT likes to see 3 accesses eliminated if you want to change it. To change to get 1, so 3 to 1, it's a policy thing. These are things the silo of money that comes out can be done prior to opening 2021 with that government center. So that's the good news, because we don't have to. It's not through a federal appropriation. It's not part of those regular District 3 budgets. These is a separate. I believe, and I could be wrong on this, but I believe it comes out of that flex account. When they collect the money, 5% goes into a flex account that can do this. Plus, there's safety grants. HSEP, like County Road 39 just got recently. They have different, those are accounts that can hit problems right away instead of having to go through the process, because right now for District 3, any solicitations are for the 2023 year of construction. So that would not coincide with this. So more to come on that one. And there was a recommendations approving PR 39, 52, 54, and 68. The next meeting is the August 21st. And on the list here, it'll show you all the changes here. The only other change that they came in here that is insignificant is when I toured it this last time, I noticed in Tom Kelly, the county attorney's office, and the court services or probation office, McMillan's, that they were lacking a couple outlets on the long wall because they have the larger offices. They just have the outlet by the desk, and so they've already installed, before they finish the sheetrock, they've already installed the extra ones to make it make sense for how it goes there. And it was, it's a minor thing because the wire was already there, it was ready to go. McMillan's office had sheetrock but wasn't finished. They just had to take the screws off, run a wire there, and that's already been taken care of. But that's relatively minor. But I didn't want to have that come as an all of a sudden we have extension cords going all over the place like in this building. With that, I make a motion to approve the minutes and the recommendations.
I'll second.
Go ahead.
All right, we have a motion by Commissioner Potter, a second by Commissioner Dahlheiden to approve the July 17th Owners Committee minutes and recommendations. Is there any other discussion?
Mr. Chair.
Commissioner Dahlheiden.
What is the electrical for door holds openings? And also, why do we need to make stair changes?
The stair changes, Commissioner Dahlheiden, has to do with when the gentleman threw that child over the Mall of America over the top railing. We are raising the railings up to make sure that such a thing does not happen in ours.
Well, it would be less likely anyway.
Because that's where that change is.
So this is railing height changes in the public area?
In the public area, correct, because after that gentleman threw that child off the 3rd floor at the Mall of America, and these were the same height railing as that, it's like, okay, we don't want to have anything there, because that was short enough where a kid that wasn't being supervised properly could crawl up over that and hurt themselves, and we just don't want. You just figure, do it now while we're constructing it, versus having to figure out later why you saved $12,000 or whatever, but somebody died.
And the code is where it was originally designed, we want to do a little extra.
Yeah,
Correct.
And that's good.
And it has to, like I say, it's all predicated on what happened at the Mall of America. We just don't want that happening out here.
Yeah, then I would recommend, well, like say, it says stair A changes, maybe that should be stated as
The railing,
railing
specify it's railing.
modifications or something.
Make it more transparent.
Well, it
More
describes it
understandable,
better.
yeah.
Because when I read it, the stairs, like, why are you changing the stairs?
And Mr. Chair, thank you, Mr. Chair. I would be open in the August 21st meeting if Commissioner Dryden would like to attend one of those meetings so he can get his head wrapped around all the things that are going on. Commissioner Houston went in for me before. These are things, they're good for you to see and take a tour and see these things.
No, I was there one time for Charlie.
Okay,
Yeah.
yeah, because.
Because, I look at these and I'm still trying to figure out how they could forget to put in a drain in the floor when you have condensate that's going to happen.
It would be nice to have a whole committee of the whole
drain,
go
there
through
was a
it.
drain, I think they moved it closer, I think is what it was. They didn't want the line running across the floor or something.
Yeah.
So in other words, somebody didn't
Right.
Well-
design something correctly.
Yeah,
Which
you know what,
irritates
that was
me.
explained to us, and it was something about a change in the equipment. The one was laid out different than, and they never knew where it would come out on different machine, different air handlers or whatever.
But anyway, if Commissioner Dryden would like to go in August, I will gladly give up the seats so you can get
Otherwise, at some point, we should have an overview out there and talk about the time schedule and when expectations of completion and where we're at, and do a committee of the whole sometime in the next
would be
2 or
good.
3 months. Would be something would be nice to schedule up, and maybe you can come back in a later meeting to do
Maybe in the
something
fall.
like that.
October,
Yeah,
maybe?
something like October or September.
End of
Yep.
September.
End of September,
When
yeah.
are bids due for the government center?
We should receive them, I believe the date was the 4th of August.
fourth.
Actually, it'd be that week prior. I don't know the exact date, but it's that first week in August here. Let me pull up my notes.
Fifth seems right.
So, with that,
Yeah.
we have the motion, the recommendations. Is there any other discussion? Hearing none. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. July 17th, the owners committee minutes and recommendations are approved. July 10th, technology meeting minutes, Commissioner Dryden.
You didn't tell me you wanted me to read this.
Well, it was only me and you there, so.
Privilege to be in the chair.
On July 10th, the Wright County Technology Committee met. It was regarding the draft CIP 2020 projects. There was lots of discussion. There was some new softwares that were requested. One of them is the highway had been interested in it, but now come to find out that it could be utilized through many more departments. Health and Human Services had identified some EDMS funding could be moved. Attorneys with the J-Works, which is a record-keeping system, that looks like it needs to get replaced in 2020. That's with some carryover funds. HR, EDMS, electronic document management system, is currently finishing up. The biggest issue is knowing what we're going to be able to do. Not so much financial wise, but with the amount of employees that we have or do not have. So there's going to be some testing on a few different things. There's some social media archiving that needs to get done to keep us up to state statute. So the recommendation, with more discussion, will need to happen as the list of projects and dollars available are not prioritized the same. IT was tasked with looking at the requested CRP projects to see what they can realistically handle so we can get a better idea on it, which needing to know whether or not we can do in-house or if there are critical things that need to be done with external contract workers.
Okay.
I'll make a motion to approve the recommendations.
I'll second that.
Second that. So a motion by Commissioner Bella and second by Commissioner Hewsome. And Administrator Kelly, this is kind of one of these deals where if this, then this. Because I'm guessing that this conversation is stemming a lot of potential staff requests for IT in the budgeting. And that's where we're going to the meeting tomorrow to discuss this more. And I know that with limited BA staff, a lot of this stuff is probably going to say, not likely, is probably the response that I'm predicting tomorrow. Just because all those things, there's just no way it's not possible. So that's where kind of my question is. I mean, we're going to make some sort of a recommendation tomorrow, but that pending what the outcome of budget would be from a staffing perspective. Correct?
Sure. A couple discussion points on that. We did have the opportunity to meet yesterday and review the project portfolio, what's kind of in the hopper for 2020. As you spoke to, we looked at the assignments of the resources we currently have and did note that there is a shortage of more than one FTE for the projects we currently have in the hopper for 2020 and moving forward in the BA area. So I think that's going to prove through in the discussion tomorrow as well. So I think that's kind of speaking to your point. Have been working with the IT management team and working on the budget presentation, which does include a few position requests for the 2020 budget. So if that answers your question.
In other words, it's challenging.
Well, my question is, and I'm guessing tomorrow there'll be, if the BA position is approved, these projects can go forward. If not approved, these will be the projects that will be coming forward. I'm guessing that is kind of the recommendation that will be coming out of the...
To the best of their
To
ability.
the best of their ability. I mean, obviously...
Again, you don't know, we lost another one and...
Yep, it's... That's
So,
all we can do. All right. With that, we have a motion and a second for the IT minutes and recommendations. Any other discussion?
just one other thing. There is a memo from county engineer, highway engineer, regarding that fleet management software, funding and information about it and what they've all done. So you're aware of that, along with all the different projects that are in the CIP, if you can read it.
Get your magnifying glass out.
Yeah.
My arms are still they still work.
All right, any other discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. The July 10th Technology Committee minutes are approved. So next we have to schedule a committee of the whole to discuss ERP. Do you have a recommendation, Mr. Kelly?
I've looked at a couple different dates and times. Wanted to get something on the books as our dates tend to be filling up fast in August, and I know the board had requested a follow-up meeting. So a couple different things. I know the board has a committee of the whole already scheduled for the morning of the 9th. We do have an ERP group meeting already scheduled in that afternoon, so it might be an opportunity. If you're willing to meet on the afternoon of a Friday, I know the group's calendars would work. Otherwise, we do have a couple other dates where there's already committee of the wholes that might be opportunities to add on to the commissioner's schedules, such as the 12th.
9th would be better for me.
You want to go 1 o'clock on August 9th?
Commissioner Potter,
Yeah.
you look like you got something going on.
Oh, yeah, About 110 miles that way. I have a sailboat I haven't been able to play with, but we'll do it at 1 o'clock. It'll be fine.
1 o'clock?
Or do you want to go, we can go at 11 and just go right over lunch, because the
Go on, just get it over
Trailblazer,
with.
we can just go.
Well,
You sure? We
do
can get you
whatever.
done, all right.
You want to do 11, Mike?
11 be fine, 1 o'clock.
11 o'clock would be fine with me too, we don't have to burn the whole day.
I would say 11 o'clock would be.
Let's do
good.
11 then.
Okay.
That way we'll make sure that we,
We'll have
We're
to wrap
done
up
with our
the Transportation Committee of the Whole.
transportation. Yeah, that shouldn't be more than 2 hours.
Or do we just have it over there and we don't drive anywhere?
that's probably not a bad idea.
Just can post it as over there, because I,
Stay over there. And
Yep.
Make that happen too.
I think that would be good.
all right.
Come to you.
Besides, they got good audio-visual equipment out there.
Yep.
It's true.
With that, Mr. Chair, I'll make a motion to set a committee of the whole to discuss the ERP, which is Enterprise Resource Planning, for 11 o'clock on Friday, August 9th, at the Highway Building.
I'll second it.
All right, we have a motion by Commissioner Dowlight, or Potter, second by Commissioner Dowlight, and any further discussion?
Do we sound alike or something today?
We do. I think I'm fighting off.
I know I got more
allergies
hair
really
than
bad.
he's
Oh,
got, so I'm
absolutely.
just trying to.
In the front, too.
Yeah,
I can't pull that.
So I'm just kind of curious on how you keep confusing us.
I know my ears are bad today. Allergies are getting the best of me, so. All right,
Not that I'm insulted or anything, I'm just,
all right. So with that, we have motion and second. All in favor, say aye.
I,
Opposed, same sign. August 9th at 1 o'clock for a committee of the whole for ERP is scheduled. Budget Committee of the Whole 2020 schedule. Looks like we kind of got it nailed down here.
Yes, Mr. Chair, like to always get this out in two departments to make sure it works for everybody's schedules, as there's a lot of moving pieces. We were contacted late yesterday that Extension would like to move their time. They were originally slated for the August 26th. Our proposal is to move them on to the 15th at 11:15. And then slide up the remaining departments that were scheduled for the 26th to kind of fill that gap. So hopefully we can get the bulk of the department meetings done in the morning of the 26th.
So, got it, after the, on the 15th, after the,
County Board.
Correct.
but we already have,
Oh, so at
you said the 15th or 13th?
15th,
15th.
Extension,
August.
the county board's at 11 a.m. that day.
correct.
On Thursday?
We could,
You said the 15th.
for the budget,
On this.
15th is a Thursday.
yeah,
right.
why are you saying county board?
Yeah, it's not county board.
Well, you're talking about the,
That's
The
who's-
schedule
oh,
to
budget
review the county
discussion.
board's budget.
The county
Sorry,
board
yeah.
budget,
For 11,
okay.
County board budget, yes.
Right.
So we're still starting at 9 o'clock that day?
Correct.
Okay.
All right.
And at 11:30 approximately, or,
We'd planned it for 11:15.
okay,
We'll incorporate those changes and submit a final for adoption next Tuesday, but wanted to make sure the board was okay with the schedule as it has been proposed.
And then, Mr. Chair, I don't know if the August 28th one I will not be able to make. Is there any way we can move that one up a little earlier? Like maybe the 27th after the board meeting or something like that, or?
which one can't you make, the 28th?
Right.
It is, yeah. I know that the 28th was a time that HHS had targeted because it worked for their staff.
Say again?
Excuse me, I know discussions in setting the schedule, the 28th worked good for Health and Human Services for their staff. I could probably reach out to Soil and Water and move that one potentially. I guess it's a decision, do we
27th.
leave it as it is?
The 27th is a busy day. I
don't have anything.
well, don't you have, I don't know.
What about the 29th?
That would be,
Although I guess-
I'll be gone, Mark.
Oh, so you're
Do you
gone.
want to wait and do it after Labor Day weekend, and, or do you guys, do
I'm gonna be gone for a while, then I'm taking,
you want to go for Tuesday, the 20th, and can HHS go earlier?
I can do that.
What else we got scheduled? I don't have
You know
anything
what,
on
and
my
I
calendar for the
mean-
20th.
No, the 20th is wide open, so I'd be fine with going to the 20th.
Would that work for
But
you
it-
guys?
But if it's HHS, maybe we can just move soil water to that one or something. You guys could do HHS, whatever.
You want to move just the soil and water to August 20th?
Can you do that?
I'm sure we can make
We
it.
have the 19th, Health and Human
Yep,
Services.
that's gonna be a long one.
You,
So I think we hard to do the 19th and 20th. Yeah.
It would be,
20th would be,
yeah.
20th is a challenging day for a few staff, I know.
Okay.
Some meetings with the class and comp, with department heads that day, so
Oh, that's your
depending
doing
on
your-
when you scheduled it, it would impact
Okay.
you staff, but
what about, we don't have anything scheduled in the afternoon of the 22nd? Or later on in the morning, we got till 10:45 is IT. I'm not quite sure how long that's gonna take, since we'll be discussing the biggest key parts of IT regarding, positions on the 14th.
Do you guys want to go on Friday, August 23rd in the morning? HHS? I'm just throwing ideas.
That could work.
Works for me.
First thing in the morning,
I can make it work.
So just move to 9 o'clock, the 28th,
hopefully,
to the
whole
to the
page?
23rd.
hopefully health, or,
Are we bringing soil and water
soil
that
and
day
water,
too?
yeah, hopefully they can make it.
Mr. Kelly, can you make it work? If it's not, then don't be opposed to letting us know.
We'll make it work on the staff side, I believe. I'll have to reach out to Soil and Water,
All right.
as long as that works with Health and Human Services staff.
Otherwise, I mean, so the other thing I heard was to leave it where it is. Commissioner Burrell would advertise it and just.
Oh, no, I know what you're thinking. No way.
I'm okay either way, I just hope that we could, depending how many changes would be coming up, that we could affect any changes in our budget to present it again later the same week.
Yeah, I would think moving it to the 23rd would be the best one of the bunch.
That would work.
And if, yeah,
All right.
Because I think especially it's important for Commissioner Burrell to be here on all these.
That gives us some time that
I
next
want
week.
to, I would like to be here just to say no.
I just, yeah, I mean, Christine's going to have a big piece of it. Send your attention to Christine to make sure we can affect the changes.
That's what we do at budget, isn't it?
and, Mr. Chair, Administrator Kelly, I do have a question that I have on August 8th at 1 o'clock, Personnel Committee of the Whole. So, does anyone else have that on their,
I had it on here too, I thought.
August 8th, we do.
right, so
Same time.
are we doing the budget then after that, the capital improvement
Because you have the,
plan after that?
yes, because
We have that
the
at the same time, so we should maybe
August 8th is,
put budget at,
no, you
Yeah.
have, you have coffee with commissioners at
That's
9.
this afternoon.
On the
Right.
8th. No, on August 8th, it's the second one. And then you have Budget Committee of the Whole at 1 o'clock.
Right.
but we have
But I had
Personnel Committee of the Whole
Personnel Committee at 1 too.
at
On
1
the
o'clock.
on Thursday versus Wednesday?
On Thursday, the 8th,
I had it down too.
Personnel Committee of the Whole.
On,
I don't have it.
no, I don't have it either.
I don't know why
The
Charlie
the
does.
Personnel Committee of the Whole is the
You know who's
following week.
cheating over there?
There's a coffee with the commissioners that morning.
I was
Right.
going to say that, maybe.
I've got that.
It should be Tuesday, August 13th, you have the Personnel Committee of the Whole insurance
That is correct.
on August 13th.
I have that also.
I don't have a Personnel Committee of the Whole on. Oh, you know what it is we were gonna move personnel requests from the, it was gonna be on the 8th, but we moved it to the 14th because of the methodology. it's Budget Committee of the whole personnel request. But we moved it down to the 14th from the 8th because we wanted to do the overview of the books first. So these things kind of shifted down one. So we're doing the overview of the books and going through the books, then we're going capital improvement, then we're going personnel requests. Originally, what you originally saw was the personnel requests on the 8th and the capital improvement here and the overview of the books on the 14th.
Okay,
But we moved the overview of the books because we thought it would be, makes more sense for us to talk everybody through the books first,
all right,
so.
got it.
Now-
Now we
right.
know why.
That's what it was.
Yep.
Yeah, I have the same thing.
Okay.
All right, so with that, we made all those changes. Do I have a motion to approve the Budget Committee of the whole schedule?
So moved.
Moved by Commissioner Dahlheiden,
Second,
second by Commissioner Husum. Any other discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
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 Opposed, same sign. The budget committees are scheduled. I don't think there's much of a single free day in August.
No.
No,
With that, we will go to the advisory committee updates. Mr. Kelly, I'm going to let you have the pleasure of talking first.
All right.
Okay, very good. Commissioners, I think I forwarded you an email that we will be reimbursed for our expenses regarding the lawsuit. Will be coming soon to the tune of $70,303.41. There was some talk about 2 cents difference in the numbers, but we got that straightened out, so that will be coming in. Additionally, we haven't had the opportunity to introduce him to the board, but Mark Kellogg has started as the IT manager as of last week, which has been good. Additionally, I had the opportunity to meet with the Highway 25 Coalition, who's now rebranding themselves. So that's creating a larger focus of that group rather than just a transportation-based, looking at jointly planning between Sherburne and Wright counties, and working on an RFP to develop a study for that. So it's been a very interesting group as of this far. Yeah, a couple updates
Can you
there.
believe that the check's in the mail?
I was told that it was, so thank you to the attorney's office and auditor treasurer staff with getting that information together and getting it out there, so.
Where I became aware of the 2 cent error, we paid Becker share, so I'm not sure if you want to give me directions to bill Becker County for those 2 cents, but
Yeah, would you please?
And then, Mr. Chair, when we do get that payment, I think it would be nice to have an agenda item for the board to make a motion to thank and have Lee write a letter to all the state legislators just to say thank you. Because they didn't have to do it, and it was the right thing to do, though, so.
Yep. Commissioner Potter?
Okay. Transportation Alliance, yesterday I met with them. I'm vice president this year, president of it next year. Talk about what we're going to go into the next session, try to get the funding mechanism. We're short about, $900 million a year at the state on the funding package. Trying to change the narrative from what was last year when the governor proposed 20-cent a gallon gas tax increase, which was actually a 6 cent because you give 20 but you take 14 away. And it was just so discombobulated, nobody could make heads or tails. And personal opinion, it was the red herring of his budget. He didn't really care. He wanted the education and the health care, and he's dangling this out there. Okay, you give me these two, I'll throw this one away, and that's personal opinion there. We're going to go after more what Commissioner Burrell had suggested at a point in time, try to go after what the national average is.
Yeah.
We are the 23rd most populated state, so if we go 25th, neither side should have an argument with that. We're going to continue to work for a little bit more of the general fund appropriation, which last time around, when it's in there, the full take for the auto parts is $330 million a year, which equates into 0.3% of the budget. Hardly the narrative that was we're going to throw grandma out of her house if we take that money. Hardly that at all. The faster we clear this up, the better we can manage that so we don't have that fiscal cliff in 2021. Those are the things we're going to go after. We got a list of some of the deals. The other thing we're going to try to change is to make it so the minimum, instead of $38.50, will escalate up a little bit more and change that depreciation schedule on the new car so you're not getting just nailed that first couple years so bad. And basically, if you raise the $3,850 to like $75 a year, you'll be able to offset that, because after it's 10 years old, they're out down to the $3,850. That will more than offset the change of the depreciation schedule on top end.
So they're gonna raise the minimum for an older car?
Yeah.
I wouldn't support that. It's like, let's make the working poor pay more all the time. I don't know.
Well, and it's not quite how, the working poor, you
Well,
say that,
pretty
but
soon, Mike, the poor people aren't gonna be able to afford to have a car, and then they're gonna have to take transit, and
for 1 year's taps from $3,850 to
against that.
$75 is gonna make the difference between them being able to drive to work and not drive to work. I don't buy that
But it's
one.
everything, though. It's insurance that's going up, and then, everything, transfer, everything's increasing. It is pretty expensive to own a car right now.
And it's very expensive to own a brand new car when you get $600 a year tab fees when
But there, if you can afford to buy a new car, you can probably afford to pay the tax. I don't know. Whatever. It's not gonna be our call anyway, but.
right, it'll be the legislature's call. I mean, Wisconsin did that a few years ago to raise that minimum tab fee up. And the same argument was made, but nothing happened. It just, a car on the road still does the damage, it still does the thing. And from $3,850 to $75 is not going to make the difference between somebody driving and not driving, because if they couldn't afford it at $75, they probably can't afford it at $3,850 either.
What if you just have a lot of cars, though, and you just only drive one at a time? That makes it kind of expensive to own.
Yeah, Mark, how you doing that?
Well, you
It's gonna make that-
just put plastic plates on them, and it's only a one-time fee.
See?
But it makes that, what was the $10 fee that we talked about at one time?
The wheelage
Yeah,
tax.
wheelage
Wheelage
that,
tax.
yeah.
It makes the wheelage tax look insignificant. Because that was gonna raise, what, $10?
That was
per
$10
vehicle.
would raise 1.2
Here we're talking
million.
about raising it 40, so.
But you gotta do something, you gotta figure that out some way, somehow. More people are complaining about the tab fees the way they're at right now, and we are kind of the anomaly with other states on how we're doing it. So there's a lot of discussion yet to be had.
You mean, maybe they'll be able to work the new software so that it's more friendly with other states, so they can buy something off the shelf instead of having to create something that doesn't work?
Don't run for Congress, Mark. Common sense, they won't have you in
Dang
there,
it.
they'll get rid of you quickly.
Hate that.
But that's all I have, Mr. Chair.
All right.
Since we've got other meetings, and I really didn't have much. I'll just pass on my time.
All right. I'm going to try and go as quick here on some things here. So like Administrator Kelly said, the Highway 25 Coalition has morphed into a totally more of a planning organization for the area. We're right now working on what that scope of that planning area will be. There's quite a lot of possibilities of what that planning area could be. It could be as large as all the way from St. Michael to Clearwater to as more centralized to just Big Lake, Monticello area. More discussions to take place on that. I do want to thank administration in really bolstering and help as we've grown this group to cover so many different areas, and jumping in and helping give myself and resources and the group resources. It's becoming quite a timely venture. Just so you have understanding, we are meeting as a whole group at least twice a month now, and staff is meeting at least twice a month on top of that, so there's 4 meetings a month for this group. It's just so you're aware, it is taking a lot of resources from administration as well as ourselves, so.
Why, why all of a sudden, when it was almost kind of not accomplishing anything, to all of a sudden having this such a high priority? What's driving it?
What's driving it now is that they're looking at how we haven't been marrying resources between Sherburne and Wright County from an area planning organization, and in the real need for us to be looking at how does the county's land use plans meet up with Sherburne County's land use plans? How does the city of Big Lake's land use plans meet up with the city of Monticello's land use plans? What is Sherburne County's vision for these areas? What is Wright County's visions for these areas? and basically the transit and transportation needs that kind of correlate with this, where our utility lines align up, and where would they futurely need to connect in the future. So it's spun off into a whole other thing other than just a bridge crossing.
Well, as I'm glad that we're working together with the other cities and counties, because that makes sense. Sorry, Mike. But it's gone on so long, why all of a sudden has it become a priority? And we have when there's so many other things that are also priorities, that we've got staff going 4 times a month, or, every week. We've gone so long without it, why can't we just kind of pull it back a little bit? I just can't believe.
It's a finesse game. Our consultant that we are contracted with is trying to, it has an aggressive schedule for the first 3 months here, and then it basically goes back to once a month. But as we just start with this consultant, Ann Carroll's, she basically, to make I guess maybe, Lee, you can help me. I wasn't quite sure I understood what the methodology was for wanting to have to get so much done in the first 3 months, but.
Yeah, I definitely thought it was an aggressive schedule. Certainly, I think she wants to capture and create some momentum going into kind of the fall here. But it's definitely been signing out tasks and making sure things get done in a timely manner, so.
And I will say, Commissioner Dahlett and I have worked hard, because I've canceled this week's meeting because I just felt like the schedule. So I am trying to push this out, because even in light of she does a great job, don't get me wrong. Ann is fantastic, and she intends to come back to all of our elected bodies to present somewhere in the next 2 months to show what the plan and vision of the group is, and basically wants to get all members elected official buy-in on where we're going with this. So it's kind of a finesse game back and forth in terms of what some of the members want, a very aggressive schedule, where some of us are kind of like, this isn't do or die, and we don't have to have it done.
Well, that's why I'm wondering, maybe hit it hard, but maybe wait till September. I mean, it's just, August is such a,
Mr. Chair,
it's a stretch.
I'll take a little thing for the little education time here. To acquire a river crossing takes between 20 and 30 years in the planning process. The idea behind what you're doing here will help on the federal end of this speed this process up quite a bit. You get all these things done, which seem like a pain in the hind end now, you might be acquiring that river crossing blessing 10 years or less. If you don't do what you're doing now, 20 to 30 years, that's the earliest you're going to get in on it. Because when the feds are looking for these things, they want regional planning as the whole ticket, because they're not just arbitrarily throwing these across any river.
No, I agree.
But that's the process, and that NEPA process here, that whole thing is just so convoluted, and if you don't do all these little things, which are, kind of like say, a pain in the butt, if you don't do all these things, you're not going to be able to fast track this to get a crossing there. And Highway 25 up in Monticello, anybody who's driven that knows you can't wait 30 years to fix that problem.
No, but I'm just worrying, by postponing it a month, to get us through this difficult time.
Exactly, and we've been finessing it. Like I said, I've already advocated for my staff and letting them know that we've had to cancel meetings, because it's just, there's some things that are just beyond what we feel capable. This is a long process.
Our staff.
Our staff. I'm sorry, did I say my staff or our staff? Sorry, my bad. Our staff. My bad.
You're terrible.
I'm terrible.
Hey, you're
So,
just fine.
for our staff, and as well as trying to communicate with Administrator Kelly on what he feels capable and not, and he's done a good job of, they're easy to assign things in that group, are they not?
Yes.
And I appreciate you not getting roped in too tight on that, so.
Certainly want to participate, but
I'm just
there's
thinking,
been other players that have been more active and trying to support them and getting what they need.
just so long as we don't extend ourselves too much at this point, because like I said, a month is not a do or die.
No, and just so you understand, like this whole economic impact study slash, economic planning and impact study is a 2-year process, and that's with with her aggressive schedule. It's going to take 2 years till we actually get the final product from it. And odds are we're probably going to be pushed out to maybe closer to 2.5 years, just because I don't think that aggressive schedule is going to be able to be quite accomplished as.
So what he's getting at is the earliest he can go after any kind of money is basically 2023.
Pretty much. Yeah.
Earliest.
Yep.
And that's if you get this thing moving.
That's if we get this thing.
Because then if you go after money in 2023, chances are you won't get that money until 2026 or 2028.
Mm-hmm. You'll be 10 years out on a construction, at best, at best.
And that's if you check all the boxes and all the horses move in the same direction.
And that's where it's that finesse game. We want to be aggressive, but, we have to give and take, because every month does add up and pushes things back further really quick, so.
And the big problem we got with that single crossing there, when the city of Monticello doubles in population, and as the growth in Becker, Big Lake, and all that comes down there, and that connection between 94 and 10, with the freight connection, that's making it even more of a challenge. Actually, the county should have been at this, and same with Sherburne County 10 years ago. But, the here and now is that was the best time, now is the next time to get moving on this thing. And it's just the timeline, it seems goofy, but that's how long it takes to get something going. I mean, look at the Stillwater Bridge was 30 years.
No, I understand that.
So, but for a quick note, if you see the new CMRP logo, that is the Highway 25. It's the Central Mississippi River Regional Planning Partnership. We removed some acronyms out of there because we didn't think CMRRPP was a good acronym for it, so it's going to be the CMRP. Central Mississippi River Regional Planning Partnership.
No, like I said, it's great that we're working together. It should have been, you're right, 10 years ago.
Yep.
Absolutely. And I just want to say thank you, Commissioner Potter, for going out there and hopefully finding some funding this week for us for the 94 project. I wish you the best for us. So
We're asking for 20 million. Last year we asked for 40 million. We don't have to compete against Duluth this year, which is kind of nice.
And I can't thank you enough for your efforts on that.
Yes.
So I'll take enough time. I'm going to have to pass
Come
on.
back with the money.
That's right. If I don't bring a check back, don't come back.
Yeah, don't bother.
Yeah, all
All
right.
right. Something real quick. The Safe Communities of Wright County met. We have our new executive director, Susan Robinson, and she's really, come on board. She's hit the ground running. She is getting certified as a technician in the Car Fit program. It's a new thing, and it's to help elderly people with their vehicles, to make sure that they are, can see. They have the seatbelt extenders. They're, for adjusting the headrest. They make sure that they can reach the pedals and that kind of thing. The rear view mirror extenders. So they just want to be able to make sure they can see over the steering wheel, because sometimes, people get a little shorter and they seem to have big vehicles and maybe can't always see. So that's going to have events so they can come in and make sure that people are safe when they're operating their vehicles. And reminder that hands-free legislation is going into effect August 1st, and you can check the Minnesota Department of Public Safety website for what you can and cannot do. Essentially, you cannot be holding a device in your hand. So that's something to pay attention to. The first offense, I believe, is going to be a $50 fine plus court fees, and then the second one will be $275. So put your phone in a pocket or whatever, so you're not tempted to look at it when it rings. Or they've got, you can mount them on your dashboard too, but that's a distraction also. So just everyone be careful. The report from the state is we've had more speed-related deaths in 2018 than in a decade. So slow down, pay attention to what's going on, and that's all I have.
Okay.
Then tomorrow, what's the date tomorrow?
It's the 24th.
24th. First day of the Wright County
Yeah.
Fair.
That's right.
That's all I had.
And I love Military Day, and We have a funeral on Saturday, so I'm
Okay.
going to have to miss this year.
And as always, all the county board members are invited for Senior Day on Friday at 1 o'clock too.
Yeah, that's always a fun program.
Yeah.
Except for the non-ARP eligible.
All right,
He didn't hear you.
I was dishing you.
all right. Well,
still
with
didn't hear
that, then we got ourselves 5 minutes here before our next committee of the whole regarding call center. We'll adjourn here at 10:25.